doesn't have a Bava Metzia. You all have Bava Metzias. So we're going to give out, whoever has a Bava Metzia, Bava Basra. There's a Bava Basra. There's a Bava Basra. There's a Bava Basra. Oh, Romy, sit down, wash before you start. Yeah, no. Wash. There's a sink over there. Take a plate.
Should tell you why.
You have to beat it. We'll work it out. Bava Basra. No, we're doing Bava Metzia. There's a Bava Metzia. No, this is one I prepared earlier. Shalom. What's your name? Shnayim. Take a seat. Here, have a seat right here. Shnayim. Where do you live?
It's a great time to sneak out of work.
Oh, please.
It's great.
Sorry, we did that. Go wash.
Yeah, I'm coming. Just that.
Yeah, thanks. No, just put it down there. Okay, where are all the papers? Left or home? Okay. Don't get it wrong. We're doing Bava Metzia. I just want to take a look at this place over here, Bava Basra, before we... Thanks for time. Reggie, is there milk in the fridge in the back? Do you know?
Oh, there. Give me a tell you.
Where's, what's his name?
Yeah, apparently it's above the C1 that's here.
Oh.
My brain's not working on the one.
Like I was just this morning, my wife gave me one small job this morning. Take my kid to gun, right? All dressed, ready to go. But for some reason I wasn't there and she started complaining that her foot's itchy. So my other daughter took off her shoe, right? And then she didn't want to go to gun because she doesn't want to put the shoes back on. Famous, you know, what do you do? And I told my daughter, like, my gosh, why don't you just distract her? Why do you take off her shoe? It's just you distract her with something, right? And I just realized that, like, that's the main thing the Yitzhar does to us. He just distracts you. Here we've got an opportunity to learn Neighbor's Torah, the Iyun, like get a connection to the Torah, understand. And we're just like distracted with so many things. That's all he's got against us. That's all he has, just distraction. And you gotta just realize that, like,
He's a professional distractor.
he's a professional distractor. That's all he's got on us.
That's what he's got. And stuffing.
Who didn't get Bava Basra? You didn't get Bava Basra. You didn't get Bava Basra. No, we're doing Bava Metzia. There should be, I don't know where the Bava Metzia page is. It could be that we don't have Bava Metzia pages. I think I've written Bava Metzia.
Okay, fine.
Okay, here's more Bava Basras. Okay. Does anyone need a Bava Basra? Bava Metzia doesn't have one.
Oh, you don't want
No, does anyone need a Bava Metzia? You mentioned, right? There's a huge Gemara set over there if you want. There might be also a small one underneath the bottom shelf, a more normal size. Okay, so let's learn this thesis again. Let's finish up the thesis, which we started. So, if you remember correctly, the Gemara says, the Mishnah says, we're talking about a case where two people walk into Beis Din, holding on to the garment. BeTalis, in this case. Each one says, it's mine. What should Beis Din do? How does Beis Din pass it? By the way, the job of Beis Din is to be Marbeh Shalom and Klal Yisrael and do whatever they can to stop these people fighting and to give the money to the righteous owner. Basically got a few functions. It's not just about. I learned that when I learned Torah Rabbanit, I learned I had a Din Torah. And the Rav Moshe, why I started Din Torah, said, by the way, the job of the Beis Din isn't just to give the money to the right person. It's to be Marbeh Shalom. To try and make people.
Beating each other up with Marbeh Shalom.
Huh?
How does beating each other up Marbeh Shalom?
So you beat each other up for 5 minutes, then you get on with your life afterwards. That's the idea. You come into Beis Din, you have a huge fight, and then afterwards you look at the guy in the street, take a Shabbos him. You don't say, "You're gonna, I'm going to sue you, I'm going to kill you," because you went to the Torah. Whatever they pass him, you know, is min Hashemayim, and you lost, you won, whatever it is, and that's it. You're good. That's the idea. Okay, so Taisa says v'yachleiki. What does Basin do in this case? You come to Basin with holding onto the talis, yachleiki, split it in 50. So Taisa says tema, kasha, big kasha, not stomach kasha. My shno me'ahiyah ta'abu. Between this and the case of the ship, which is also in Bava Basra. The case of the ship in Bava Basra, which is why I printed it out, because I think we should see the places over there inside. Case of the ship is where two people are fighting over a sfina, a ship. One says it's mine, the other says it's mine. Obviously, in that case, they're not holding onto the ship. They're both in Basin fighting over the ship in the dock, right? So one guy says it was my father's, I was your ship. The other says it was my father's, I was your ship. Two completely different cases: the sfina and the talis. But why, in the case of the sfina, does Basin say, and we're going to see Taisus that brings it down, that the psak of there is kol do'olam Gvar. Basin doesn't get involved. Whoever beats up the other guy wins. That's how Basin paskins. So we saw the Rosh yesterday that says, because the person that's a rightful owner, he's got all sorts of psychological incentives to win. No one wants to be robbed, he's got more of an incentive to win, he'll work hard. The other guy thinks, I'm not going to work hard today, and tomorrow the guy's going to start bringing riots against me and I'll lose. I look like an idiot. So it sounds like from the Rosh that this sport of Kol Do'olam Gvar is a great thing to do.
Might makes right.
Yeah. Well, no, exactly the opposite of might makes right. I was going to say being right makes right.
Being right makes might.
Oh, there you go. Right makes might.
Right makes might.
Because it's really his, we're going to assume he's going to win. Okay. That's what the Gemara, that's what Taisa asked. My shno mahida arba. Why is it different in the case of the ship that we said there called Do'olam Gvar? Prepare cheskes about it. V'yishleima, and Taisa's answers, there's a difference. Here, Ochzin shani, here they're holding on to the talis. And therefore it's kilu yesh kol chad b'vadei chetzi. Each person definitely, how does Basin look at it now? Basin assumes each person definitely owns half. The Anan Sadi, the Ma'at Tov Sadi Dehu. We have a Anan Sadi is like almost like Eidos. We basically have Eidos. The person's holding on to half a talis, it's his. Each one's holding on to half, and therefore each one owns half. But in the case of the ship, neither of them are holding on to the sfina, so we don't have that. Oh, don't watch. I was watching already. V'chein, okay, that's what we saw till yesterday. We got here yesterday, right? That was a little recap. V'chein b'mona shlishi, d'medami b'gemara l'talis. Now, Taisus brings in this case of mona shlishi. What's the case of mona shlishi? Two people, Reuven and Shimon, go over to the bank or whoever it is, the guy who holds on to everyone's money in times of crisis, and each one gives them an envelope. One gives him $100, one gives him $200. So the guy's holding on to how much? $300. Now, 10 years later, they both come and they say, crisis is over, we want the money back, right? Each one says, I gave it 200. And this guy says, I don't remember who gave it 200, you're identical twins, how am I supposed to know? I don't remember who it was. So what's the din? So the Gemara there, the Mishnah, there's a machlekes of basically Chachamim. What's going to be the din? So because there's one of them is a Vadei Ramai, the Gemara says. One of them is for sure like a con man. So it's a machlekes. Do we say the whole thing should be Munach Hachav Elio or just the third 100? That's the machlekes. But they both agree that the din is Yemunach Hachav Elio. The third 100. The Chacham hold, and this is very possible. The third 100 sits there till the Yohanov comes. He hasn't got enough to do when he arrives. They'll start deciding who gets that third 100. They'll pass it.
Could it be that both of them gave 150, but it's such a long time they both forgot it?
No. So you have a kasha. Could it be that one of them that they really both gave 150?
Yeah.
Everyone agrees that there was a 200 and 100. Even the guy himself, the banker, he remembers there was a 200 and 100. One gave me a 200 bill, one gave me 100. There is no 150 bill. Each gave me one star. So one gave me 200, one gave me 100. I don't know who gave me what.
Well, can I have a question?
Yeah.
If you gave 100 and 100 and said wait for Eliyahu, we know that both of them agree I get 100 at least. So by giving them 100, one of them satisfied. If you took 50 and 50 and gave whoever is honest, he got 50 instead of 100, and the guy got 50 instead of 0.
Right.
So
At least the guy got 50.
and I would say now when Eliyahu come, I'll show you.
Right, so that's why.
be Emmett, right?
But so the Gemara says, based in can't pass on something, there can't be MS. Beis Din can't go ahead and give a guy 50 and steal from this guy 50. We know then it's for sure wrong. One guy's for sure losing, and one guy's for sure winning.
But for sure, without 100, somebody lost 100.
100%. But
He hasn't
so,
lost it, it's just waiting.
so that's
In his lifetime.
so that's why Rabbi Yoshi says the whole 300 Sister Leonov becomes, and we're going to find the guy. That way the Ganef is like, oh my gosh, you know what? No point in doing this. I'm going to lose the 100. He's going to risk something. It's a gamble, right? So he's like, he's not going to do that. He's not going to risk his 100 to gain another 100.
No, but if
So-
both are given 100, the Beis Din isn't doing anything wrong. They're not stealing from anyone. They both definitely deserve 100.
Right.
No, so the Chacham, that's how he passes. The Chacham says each one gets 100, and then the third 100 sits to Leonov becomes Asha Yemunach Hajil V'Leon, right? So the Ganef doesn't lose. So that's not a good svara over here that we're doing Yemunach.
Guy loses and the guy doesn't.
We don't need the Ganef to lose. What?
Yeah, you don't.
The honest person, that's why I said 50.
The honest person is
He loses,
losing. Right, the honest person is losing 100%. Basically, they're not Nevi'im, they can't know who really belongs to. But the point is here, the Beis Din can't go ahead and split when it's Eina Yechoyle Li SMS. It can't be true. Beis Din can't do something, but the guy's going to walk and say, why would they give this guy 50 when they know it's not? You tried to rob me and you're going to get half. That also, in a way, stops Ganav from doing something. If a Ganav knows he's going to waste his time, he's not going to get it because basically he's going to say Yemunach, so he also won't do it. He doesn't have to lose the 100, but you're wasting your time, Chabibi. You're coming in, you're saying it's mine, you're not going to get it. It's going to be Yemunach Hachil V'Leon. So what's the point? This guy knows you're lying.
You lose your first 100, that's an incentive for the gun also not to do it. If the whole 300 is munach.
That's a real incentive that he's going to risk losing 100. But even now, once he doesn't gain the third 100, so what's his point? Why is he bothering to do this?
There could be a scenario really that no one's gonna. The guy's just miscalculated what they both think.
So we're saying everyone agrees there was a 200 and a 100. But if that's the case, that no one remembers, I maybe gave 150, then you're right. But here, we're talking about, he for sure got a 200 bill and a 100 bill. We can believe that guy, we can believe the banker, he's Neman, he has got no negits. They all say there was a 200 and a 100. Everyone. So there's no reason to assume that it was a 150. No one here 150.
What's enough to mean if it was on purpose or if he just forgot?
Because then you don't punish a person, so you
We're not
get
punishing
nothing.
them. We're
No,
not
that's
giving
not
each
the
other
reason
100.
not to give nothing. Maybe
Oh, okay.
both think that they have to
So I
have.
guess that's why they give each one out.
Okay.
Never mind what the dollar's gonna be worth.
So the-
They don't have enough.
Yeah, Navi Bank.
They don't take that into account. How about we buy some silver and gold?
Maybe Bitcoin.
Buy Bitcoin, silver, and gold. The dollar and shekel.
Start a new crypto, actually, other.
Is that what they're waiting for Bitcoin?
That's right, that right.
As long as you don't take Iranian currency.
Are you on to something?
Is Beis Din allowed to take all the money that's set aside and use it for investments and make money from it?
I think it's just a sit there and rot. I think that's the din. They can't use it.
The money in those days.
I'm not sure. You're asking a good kasha. Beis Din has a very strong incentive then to like always paskin Yemunach, right?
The money,
It's Yemunach. Let's get involved. Yemunach. We're okay. We're good.
the money in the days of the Gemara was all precious metals. All the money was real silver, real.
Yeah.
So it was going to go up and down, never going to go down.
It's always a good investment.
Can the Tzedakah Gabra use that money that's in the business?
No, that's
It's
going to give it back.
You gotta just. It's gotta sit.
Yeah, Navi could come tomorrow and then they're going to get the money.
Amazing.
There are, by the way, a lot of circumstances where a person doesn't know what to do with something, and the place can say you can use it, write a shtar, that when Leonavi comes, you'll give them the money back, whatever. There are, I can't remember, but it does apply.
That's what they say, not Mashiach, because Mashiach is poor. Maybe Navi is rich and he'll pay all the
They'll pay all the debts. So Taisvis says the Gemara there is comparing the case of Mona Shlishi, the third 100, to the case of Talis. So why over there do we say a Munach Achiyov Eliyo, put it aside, and here we'll say Yachlaik. Why don't we say here? Why don't we say here Munach Achiyov Eliyo? Why don't you say there Yachlaiku? Like what's the difference?
Because it's not theirs. In this case, they own the money. This is, they found something.
Because there's a chance that the talis is owned by both of them.
No, I mean, yesterday, they didn't have a talis. The money, it was their money. They put it in. Here, they found it. Free.
So that's the other way. Right.
Okay.
So then you should say that they should for sure put the talis in Munach. But here we're splitting the talis. We're not saying the talis is
Because it's resolvable.
You only say it's resolvable because you say
You mean who had the hands on
each
the
one owns half of it because each one has possession.
Both had the hands on at the same time, right?
Right, but there is a chance that it is belongs 50-50.
No, not a chance. It is. Both of them had their hand on it at the same time when they came to the base name.
Yeah.
We established already that looking is not possession,
Right,
grabbing is.
he's holding on to
At
it.
that point, 50-50 makes sense, no? Who's gonna, one of them would
Right,
argue
so
the
that's,
side one 70%?
so that's what Taisa said before. We said before, Taisa says that when you're holding on to it, then you can say achleiku. So why? So the Gemara. So this is Taisa's kasha. Why? What's the havamin in the Gemara to compare mana shlishi to talis? With talis, why would the Gemara assume you can make a comparison? With talis, they're holding on to it. They're muchzer, they're Ochzin. But by mana shlishi, none of them are holding on to it. So why would the Gemara think that you should do yachleiku? The whole reason we're here, like Taisa said, you do yachleiku is because they're holding on to it, right? Otherwise, you do call down Gvar, for example.
Can we assume that in base name, the man can say, listen, my hand's tired. Can I call timeout? Can we see that my knuckles are losing their skin? Or I'm letting go, but I'm still holding. No, you let go, it's it.
I wouldn't let you. I was having a tough luck.
That's called Gvar. Yeah, but this is more like
We'll
more,
see. It's a good question. We're going to see. We're going to see actually.
Why shouldn't this be a case of Metzia to get out of the banker because the banker's holding the third
Yeah, but it's
hundred.
definitely not his.
And each one, yeah, but each one has to prove. You're saying
He's not. He's like, take it. I don't care. It's not
Chaveiro,
me.
banker isn't Chaveiro.
No, it's not my money. It's not the banker's
The
money.
banker- the
He
banker
can't say it's
says, "I wanna
mine.
give it
Banker can't hold on to it. It's definitely in the banker's apartment until Elio comes. You know, Basin's going to take it. The banker has got no say in this.
Why doesn't the banker say Kaldel and Gvar? Whoever wins, I'll give it to you.
Oh, that's going to be a kasha. We're going to see why do we say called on Gvar?
Is there such a thing as based in before?
Good question.
Is there such a thing as based in before the din Torah? Get the two balei din to agree to whatever decision based in makes, and then based in can say, okay, let's split it and make a compromise,
Finding
and then
arbitration.
agree.
That's what we do nowadays in Din Torah. You do pshara, you sign, you accepting
Still
pshara.
anonymous.
You don't really have to agree
You
with
makabel
There
pshara.
was no such thing in those days.
In those days, people knew the halacha, so they paskin. Nowadays, it's like that's why basically nowadays they want to do pshara because we're scared that however much of a talmid chacham you are, we know the truth,
No, but
right?
like you were saying, in a case where they don't know, and maybe they're going to be stealing money from one or whatever. So if they get both to agree from the beginning, they've agreed. So there, now whatever
If they
say.
agree, then they agree. Like I'm sure basically knows the answer. What are you talking to us for? Go.
No, but you say there was never such a thing in the times of Chazal.
I don't know if there was. I've never seen it. It's a new concept. I don't think even a few hundred years ago they used to do this. They used to
Real
paskin.
person doesn't need anything, you know.
They paskin. They used to even a few hundred years ago. They used to paskin. It's all over the place. You know, there's one of the chassidus say all these chuvas. They're all in Din Torah and they're paskining. They're not like these psharas and they're makabel aleihim b'kinyan chomer. Whatever the basin says is. It's very hard. It's very complicated in Torahs nowadays. So that's Taisa's kasha. Again, Taisa's kasha is what's the havamin of the Gemara to compare it mana shlishi to talis. By talis is Ochzin. Taisa just said the Ochzin. If you remember, we learned yesterday that the Ochzin of Taisus is the reason why you do yachleiku. Feed the Rosh. We said yesterday the Ochzin is the reason why you don't do kol dalam Gvar. You can't do kol dalam Gvar with Ochzin because Basin can't take the money away from this guy, right? Basin can't let Reuven steal from Shimon. Once Basin sees your Eiches, you can't let Reuven punch him out and grab the talis. We see your muksuk. You basically can't sit down and let someone steal from the other guy. That's how the Rosh understood. The Rosh understood the Ochzin is the reason why you can't say kol dalam Gvar. It's not an active reason why you should say yachleiku. That's where we are yesterday. So it's machlekes Rosh and Taisus. What does Ochzin achieve? Is Ochzin just the reason why kol dalam Gvar is a bad option here? Or is Ochzin the reason why yachleiku is a great option? Taisus loves yachleiku. We see in Taisus says they're both holding good, yachleiku, great. He doesn't even deal with why not kol dalam Gvar. As soon as you have an option of yachleiku, Taisus is like yachleiku best. Taisus loves splitting it. Split down the line. He always like subchas, I guess. I don't know. Subchas says anytime you have a machlekes, two people come in, they're not Ochzin, one's Ochzin, the other isn't Ochzin. It could be MS, it can't be MS. Sumchas doesn't care any of these businesses. He was one of the Shnayim, we don't pass like Sumchas. But Sumchas says, whatever happens, you come in, I could come in and say, that's my watch, 50-50. Nothing you can do.
That's what
That's how we split.
That's what I could do.
Yeah,
See Rolex on?
100%. I mean, probably it's not going to be a very successful mahalo because by the second time this happens, Jason's going to be like, really? It's yours? Like yesterday you came in with a different guy's watch, you know?
Trying to move to another
Listen,
brand.
they're not that stupid. Right.
Brought up so many times. In the same town.
No, in the same town, yeah.
It's hard to make a shidduch.
Yeah.
You're traveling out.
So that's Taisus Kasha. And we're going to see that the Riva, we're going to see Bava Basa, the Riva asks the same Kasha. And the Riva really likes his Kasha to the extent the Riva says that Ochzin has nothing to do with it. Rashi says Ochzin Shani. Tais says Ochzin Shani. The Riva is the non do with Ochzin. We're going to see it. Okay. V'chein b'mana shlishi the medami b'gemara. So the medami b'gemara talis. In the case of mana shlishi, the Gemara there compares to talis. You need a Bava Metzia?
Yeah.
No. Come share.
Two, number two. That's what happens in
Come on, sing it.
Listen, come sit here.
Over
We
here.
can share it.
He knows about pen.
I'll say it a bit slow. V'chein b'mana shlishi. Similarly, in the case of mana shlishi, the medami b'gemara talis. This is how like Tais asks the kasha. What's going on in mana shlishi? The Gemara that compares it to talis. So Tais says choshiv ahu shanifka taifes b'cheska Shnayim kilo he matzma muchzokim ba. So Tais has a massive chiddush here. That when the bank is holding on to this third $100, the third 100, it's like they're both muchzik in it. They are muchzik in that case. We thought they're not muchzik. The bank's holding on to the money. So he says no, it's ki'ilu he muchzokim ba. That's how Taisus is learning. That's why in that case the Gemara wanted to say, why don't we do a yachlaiku? So the one explains why, like Taisus doesn't explain why it's like they're muchzik. Because muchzik normally means you're holding on to it, we'll assume it's yours. Why? Like we said yesterday, we don't assume that someone's a ganef. Therefore, kol ma shetachas yad adam har yushalai, whatever you're holding on to, we'll assume it's yours. Because we're not going to assume you stole it. But here, with the case of the banker, there's no chazaka. We know why the guy's got it, because one of you gave it to him. It wasn't because neither of you have got this chazaka that it's yours. So the Ran explains that the reason why it's like they're muchzuk is because, I don't really understand, I'll be honest with you, it's because this guy will do what they tell him to do. They're like, the banker's meshubah to these two people, can the banker now give it to someone else? No. So the banker's kind of, they both got a little bit of a chazak in it. Clapping someone else, like for sure a chazak. If someone else comes and says it's mine, he can't take it. They're muchzuk, but just clapping the other guy, it's a weak chazaka. So they are a little bit muchzuk. That's why the Gemara wants to compare it and say, let's do it.
The bank is their hand.
Right, but he's only one of their hands. Why is both of their hands?
He's both of the hands. 'Cause the bank is just saying, I don't know whose hand that
Oh,
is.
so because he doesn't know, the bank has got to be, he's meshubah
hand
both of them.
yourself.
He's both of their hands. That's,
Right.
yeah.
Does this shita use the word muhsa?
Yeah. Kilo hem atzma muchzokim ba. That's the Lashon Taisus. It's as if they themselves are holding on to it. The Riva doesn't like that. He's like, what? They're not muchzok. Why? How does that create muchzok?
But what's the nafkamina between if they both say, okay, there's a banker that's holding on to $100, we don't know whose it is, and neither does the banker know, or if they're both walking and holding on to the $100 in their hand, the two of them are holding on like a talis. What's the difference? It's the same thing. It's like we're bringing in.
Just basically, so Taisus said before, the reason why when they're both holding on to it, we'll say Achleikus, is because we look at it like each one, Bavada has Chetzi.
Are you saying he had a chazaka that previously he was holding on to it, so because it was his before, Shalavoisai. Because when he's holding on to it, the fact that he's holding on to it means he always held on to it.
Yeah.
It never
Means
went
it's
into his hand. And so too, the bank,
And it's like, what's the difference between there and that he suddenly grabbed it? That he suddenly grabbed it. So neither of them have a shalavoisai chazaka that was always mine. They both just grabbed it. So what's the difference if it's in a bank and the bank is saying, oh, it's here, we don't know whose it is, and they're both saying, I'm grabbing it.
Could be that the back of the shaliach.
He's a shliach.
So you get the shaliach, so
It's an extension of the hand.
it's like he's holding it.
Right, exactly.
Answer to Eliyahu and Aviv. Two people are holding. Is there ever a time when they would say, let it go, we're going to put it first. I'm not letting it go. I'm holding. They must resolve it now, as opposed to the money which is there, which is not in their hands, where they can say, okay, we'll do it when Eliyahu. What are you going to do? Grab
Very
it?
nice. Yeah, great.
I'm asking, is there every time when they're holding that
No.
they would say, okay, let's resolve
This is
it.
not going to take it away from him and say yay monach. But here they're not holding on to
Ah, so maybe that is the difference
it.
between
Maybe that's the reason why.
and the banker.
Interesting shot.
What did he say?
Oh, that's interesting.
You asked, you said Eliyahu, why don't we do this with the talis? Because you'd have to say, guys, let it go. Put it in the Eliyahu closet.
So we're saying it's not the bank is not holding onto the chazaka. and
He's
it's
holding-
It's not a shliach because otherwise it can't be munach. So like you don't put a talis munach.
No, the third part is because one of them is a liar.
Yeah, but we're saying
The
is
first
the
time
third.
is a shaliach.
No, fine. But with the talis is like the third one, right? So they're
Except they're not holding it.
Because it
so
could
it's
be that they both really own it.
so it's a shliach. So it's like they're both holding the chazaka,
Yeah.
but it's not for it's for sure only one of them. Unlike
Exactly.
the talis.
It can't be both of those.
So
Right,
if-
we'll see. We'll finish this next line in Taisus. We'll see what the Taisus, what the Gemara's answer there is. Lachach Mishani, the Gemara answers, Da'asam Vada Dechad Menayihu. In the case of Monish Shlishi, it definitely belongs to one of them. Ve'ina Chaluka Yichol Liyos Emes. That's why there you don't say Achleiku, because it can't be true. That's why we say the Yehi Munach. In other words, Yehi Munach isn't a good option. We don't like Yehi Munach. It's a really bad option. But you can't say Achleiku because it can't be true. Bess is not going to do something that's Sheker. So Yehi Munach Lefi Taisa isn't a good option. It's your last resort. We don't know what to do. So let's sit till Eliyahu comes. Basically, can't go ahead and create a sheker, matzah sheker, split it down the two, split it in the middle, do a shleima melech, cut it down the middle where it can't be emes. Okay. V'lekach yehei munach. Avol talis. In the case of talis, dikil emeimed tavayu. In the case of talis, it could be. It's both of theirs. How could it be both of theirs? They both picked up at the same time. They both picked up at the same time. It's both of theirs. In that case, yachleiku. Then you're going to split it because it's possible that it's the truth. In other words, basically, can't do something that's bevadai sheker. It doesn't have to be MS, but they can't do something that's bevadai sheker. Okay.
In what cases do we say they fight it out?
When do we say Kol Gvar?
Yeah.
So far, we only have the case of Araba, the case of a ship. When neither of them are muchzak, you'll say Kol Gvar.
Right, so the money is a chetzi, Iyun Muksa.
Yeah. We could really take a look in Bava Basra. Let's take a look at the slices. Everyone has a copy of it, I think.
What's the difference between the ship and that third hundred? If neither of them are muhzak, so
No, we said the
So-
money is Iyun the Muksa.
So what's the possibility difference? So why, you're asking the question, why by Monish Shlishi? Why don't you say by Monish Shlishi,
Kol Gvar.
Kol Gvar?
Makes no sense.
We'll
no
see.
one's muhzak in it.
We're going to see. It's a good kasha. That's the kasha. Or why by Araba they can say Emunah? What's the difference in these two cases? So we see now why Ochzin shiny, or why it's Ochzin, Ochzin, Vade Ramai. But what's the difference between Araba and, first of all, it's not clear. We'll see that it looks like there's a machlek of Shainim, what the case of Araba is. But we'll see. Let's see Taisus. It'll become clear. Be'ezat Hashem. Let's see Taisus and who Araba Dahavu Mintzu. The second Taisus on the page. Ahu. They're fighting over the ship. So the Taisus says, Hadin called Olam Gavar. What's the din? No questions asked. Called Olam Gavar. Vim Taimar should sound familiar. Maishna Shnayim BeTalis. Why is it different? The Amar Breish Bava Metzia. The Echleiku. Bava Metzia we say Echleiku. Here you say called Olam Gavar. What's an afkamina? We have more pages now. Shall we don't have more pages?
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Okay. I thought we had some. So that's a kasha. Before Shabbat Tam, he says a slightly different twist of places. Before Shabbat Tam, the Ochzin shiny. Ochzin is different. The kivish Shnayim Uchzakim, since they both are all to it, we can't let one of them steal from his friend. So the Lefira Ben Tam, we don't look at it like each one owns half the talis. We look at it like each one has a share. They're both shareholders in the whole talis. They both walked in grabbing hold to this talis. Why should you assume each one has half a talis? Let's assume they both picked it up together and they're both 50% shareholders in the whole talis. So now that they're both 50% shareholders in the whole talis, you can't say Kol Dalam Gava, punch it out, and we know that one of them is going to for sure steal from the other guy.
Why is it for sure? I mean, saying we're for sure, if both of them walk in holding it, then for sure they're on it 50-50?
No, we don't know for sure, but we look at it like they're both muhsik in the whole thing. So basically can't go ahead and say, okay, you want to punch one of you guys' lights out and take away from his chazaka. We can't do that. In other words, he's giving a reason, first of all, why. It's not an active reason why you do yachleikus. That's first of all places. In Bava Metzia says yachleikus is a great psak. They're both muhsik. Let's do a yachleikus. That's the best option. Here, places are just saying that Kol Dalam Gava is not a good option because we can't let one steal from the other.
Steal, the only thing is steal. You're saying basically they became muhsuk and that was the chazaka. They were kind of, it was their chazaka. They were kind of their half by grabbing it. They obviously had some kind of scramble, like a little shtick of Kol Dalam Gava in the first place before they got to Beis Din.
We don't have to say that Bavada is, but it could be. It could be we're letting him steal. That's enough maybe. That one of them may be an owner, and now Basin's letting him steal from someone who's a muhsuk. In other words, Basin doesn't know who it belongs to, but we for sure know he's a muhsuk. So Basin can't just let someone walk in and steal from a muhsuk. That's the job of Basin, is to keep the peace. You're not going to steal from a muhsuk, right? So let's finish up this place first. The chashiv. We look at it like kilu anu yoidin she'esh shneim chelik ba. We know they both own a part of it. Shekol dava yesh lamed becheskas mishu biyodai. Basin looks at everything like it belongs to the guy whose rishus it's in. Basin always looks. Possession is 9/10 of law. It's 10/10 of law. Karminu got a nachsid Rababa. That's what the Gemara says in the case of nachsid Rababa. So just a brief. What's nachsid Rababa? Someone grabs something from his friend, right? And there's one witness, right? So I say, listen, you grab from me the milk, right? I say, give me back the milk. You say, I said, I've got a witness, you grabbed it from me. Here's my witness. Our couple's made, you grabbed me the milk. So what do you say? Yeah, I grabbed it, but it was mine. Now, you're in a bit of a predicament here, because when you have an Eid Echad, normally if there would be no Eid, you'd have a Migu, you'd win. Because I've got no proof that you grabbed it from me. I say you grabbed from me, you say, yeah, I did, but believe me that it's mine, because I could have just said, I have no idea who you are, I've never seen you before in my life. So a Migu in that case would work, the whole order. You're not being mighty from anyone. Migu Laitzi maybe you can't say, but Migu Lahachzik you can say. You're holding on to it, I don't know who you are. So believe me when I say that I grabbed my milk, because I could have just said that. I have no idea who you are. But let's say there's an Eid Echad now. It says, I saw you grabbed it from me. So what happens with Eid Echad? You're mechuyev to take a shvur, negative Eid Echad. So the Eid Echad is being mechayev your shvur, you didn't grab. But you did grab, you can't take a shvur, you're stuck. You're in a pickle.
Unless it's mine, in which case I can say that's why I grabbed it.
You can say all you want, you grabbed it because it's yours. But you have to take a shvur that you didn't grab. The Eid Echad testifies that you grabbed. And that's mechayev you to take a shvur you didn't grab. But you can't take that shvur because you did grab, right? Even though you grabbed your own thing, but the shvur is, I didn't grab it.
Right.
So you're stuck. So you lose. Because you mechuyev shvur v'eni yochel l'shava, you have to take a shvur. You can't swear. The shvur that's applicable here. The shvur isn't that I'm a ganef. It's not like Besin saying, take a shvur, you're not a ganef. No. Besin is making you take a shvur that you didn't grab. And you can't do that.
So I shouldn't have said I didn't grab it. I should have said it's mine.
It wouldn't help. Once he's got Eid Echad, either way you can't take a shvur.
You got my thing, I grabbed it from you.
Yeah.
He's a witness.
So what are you going to say
He's
now?
only one
I
side.
took my milk back. He says, I saw him take it from him. I absolutely took it from him. It's mine. He's got my shirt, I'll take that off him also. What else do you want to know, Rabbi? No? Give it back? It's his?
Give it back. It's his. There's an aid. We saw, Adim saw, you take it from him. And because I'm a muhsik, I'm called a Morakama, we're going to assume it was mine.
You don't take a shul.
I don't think sure. I was a Morakama. We've established I was the original rightful owner. Because I was muhsik. I was holding on to it. Now you took it from me. Basin knows why are you holding on to it now? Because you grabbed it. That's not a muhsik. You can't become a muhsik if we saw you grabbing something. So I'm a muhsik and you grab from me. So it's too bad. I'm the muhsik, you got to give it to me. I was the rightful owner originally. You're Metzia Mechavrei.
So I say, can I see that watch? It looks so nice. Watch this. And then when you grab it back from me. My hand, you grab it.
So if they yeah, okay.
Ganavim can be as baki in the law as lawyers can be. Like, what's the...
Lawyers are not even better.
Lawyers are the
Exactly,
reason
even
we
better,
need lawyers.
right? Even better.
Most lawyers are going.
Exactly.
That's a
Lawyers are the reason we need lawyers.
Okay. So Benachta the Rav Abba says Taisus 5th line down, 6th line down. The Afal Gav the Oma Didichatvi, even though he says, yeah, I grabbed my shirt back, Chashvin le Gazlan. We basically look at this guy like he's a Gazlan. V'chayv l'shalem, he's not going to pay. Kilu hu barish ha'isa nachsa shalai yisay shaya muchzik ba. Basically looks at it like he's a Vada Gazlan. You stole from this guy who was the Morikama. So possession in that case is 10/10 of the law. Even though you claim you grabbed it and it was yours, too bad. Okay. V'afagav. Sorry. So now he's asking Taisus Kasha over here. Why does Gemara compare Talis, Shnayim Ochzin BeTalis, to Shah, the Mona Shlishi, Hashay Yemunach Hachiyav Eliyahu? Why is Gemara making that comparison? So Afagav the Bishar, the Hossam, Ein Shum Echad Muchzuk. In the case of the Mona Shlishi, we said neither of them are Muchzuk. So why would you say? So why what's the Gemara's have a minute to compare it to? So Chaim the Shah Nami Choshev Lakilu Shnei Muchzokim Ba. He's saying exactly like Taisus says here. In the case of Mona Shlishi, it's like they're both going to it. Given the Mekayach Shneim Nifkad. He adds like a little hezbollah here. Kilu the Mekayach Shneim Nifkad. We're looking like they're both holding on to it, like he's holding on to both of them. It's like a Pekodin of both of them. Once you don't know whose Pekodin is, it's both of them Pekodin. That's Taisus adds a little hezbollah. Okay. This is why I wanted to see the Taisus on the Kudah here. The Riva. The Riva is a big player in this whole Amid. The Riva Nira. The Lav Dafka Ochzin, Midami Lolashar. It's got nothing to do with Ochzin. That's not why we're comparing Talis to Mona Shlishi. Because he isn't Ochzin. It's got nothing to do with Ochzin. What's the lesson over there? I feel the tamer of BIC. So the difference, according to Rabbi Yossi, is that if there's a Vadei Ramai, there isn't a Vadei Ramai. Hochanami, here also, Ba'arba, Kivin B'Iko Ramai, Vayachleitu. So, according to Riva, what's the din? There's a Vadei Ramai over here. In the case of Sfina, when there's a Vadei Ramai, we know someone's for sure Ganav. What's your name?
My name, Yoshua Reber.
Nice to meet you. So in the case of Sfina, when there's a Vadei Ramai, you say, Kol Velam Gvar. You can't say Achleiku. Nothing to do with Ochzin or Ochzin. With Talis, why do you say Yachleiku? There isn't a Vadei Ramai. Maybe they both picked up at the same time, so you're going to say Achleiku. You can't do Yachleiku over that, because one of them is a Ramai. So according to the Riva, why is there a Ramai by the ship? One guy says, this is my grandfather's ship, I've had it for 100 years in the family. The other guy says, this is my grandfather's ship, I've had it for 100 years in the family. One of them is lying, it can't be both theirs. You can't do Yachleiku there. So when there's Vadei Ramai, you can't do Yachleiku.
What if they could have been shutafim in the ship and now they're lying?
But the case is each one says, I've owned this ship my whole life. Oh, come on,
Each one says it was an inheritance, but they always owned it.
So each one says that they've inherited it, and I have no idea who this guy is. I've never met him before in my life. So one of them is for sure alive. So you can't split it, because it can't be true. Why by BeTalis do you do a yachleiku? Because it could be it's true. So do a yachleiku. Not because they're Ochzin. Ochzin's got nothing to do with it. Let's say they put Ochzin the ship. What would be the din? They both say they found the ship, the Ochzin the ship. If there's a Vadei Ramai, so you'll say it'll be the same thing as BeTalis. There's no enough minutes.
Is it shy to grab onto a rope that's tied to the ship or something and be all in the ship?
Well, like an animal?
How are you kind of Sfino?
What happens if both guys walk in with a talis and say Shalavoisa?
So if there's a Vadei Ramai, so the what's it called? You won't do Yachleiku. If there's a Vadei Ramai, you'll do Kol Dalam Gava. We can't do Yachleiku when there's a Vadei Ramai. We're not gonna split the talis when one of them's for sure lying and let the Ramai walk out with a what's it called? Just like in the case of Monash Shlishi. What's the case of Monash Shlishi? There's a Vadei Ramai, so you can't do Yachleiku. Same thing. Taisus has to come along and say a chiddush that, you know what, Monash Shlishi is also a Yachleiku. They're both muchzuk also. That's why the Gemara wanted to say Yachleiku there. But if the rival, there's no reason to assume you do the Yachleiku. It's not to do the Yachleiku. It's not to do the
Is there
muchzuk.
shit that says by the 300 daily Yachloiku?
The what?
Yachloiku by the 300, is there shit that says that?
No. It's machlekes if you split the whole thing is munach or only the third munach is munach at Yovelio. That's the machlekes in the Mishnah. Okay, so that's why in the case of the ship we do a kol dalim gava. You let the best man win. So why didn't you say in the case, this is what you asked Benji, why didn't you say in the case of Monash Shlishi kol dalim gava? Why did you say yemunach? Let them fight it out. In other words, if you're the rival, Ochzin's got nothing to do with it. They're not Ochzin in Monash Shlishi anyway. According to Revolt, what's the klal? The klal is if there's a Vadei Ramai, you don't say Achleiku. So why by Monash Shlishi do you do a Yemunach Hachav Eliyahu? Let's do a Kol Dalam Gava.
Well, with the Sfina, where are you going to put it till the
I'll
The
take care
C's
of
big,
it.
the C's very big.
Exactly.
But that's not the kasha.
By
By
that
the way.
logic, it was never lost.
Good kasha.
Someone put it there, right?
Good Nakuda, but that's not the kasha. Kasha is why by Monash Shlishi don't you say Kol Dalam Gava?
Yeah.
He doesn't ask why didn't you say over here Yemunach. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Good, nice Nakuda. So, where am I? So why didn't you say that kol dalam gava? The reason why this is a tremendous chiddush. The reason why you don't say by Monash Shlishi fight it out is because of the klal d'loy mafkina. Kadabinu hacha, last 4 words. Just like we say here, we don't take it out. You can't take something away from someone because it's in the hand of the bank. You kind of were saying something similar, no? You don't take it out from the banker. He's holding on to it. Hold on, we're not going to take it away. We'll see in a second. That's what the Gemara says here, that, let's say the case with the Sfina, the Gemara talks about, let's say Basin would grab the Sfina, which they weren't supposed to do. The Gemara says, once Basin grabs it, to make sure everything's kosher, then they can't let go. What's the klal? Once Basin has a grip on it, Basin can't now go ahead and okay, fight it out. Here it is. Go throw it to the dogs. So here also, this guy, the mafkid, the bank's holding on to the 300. You can't say go ahead and say okay, fight out, call down gova. That's not right. Therefore, it's going to be himunach.
Kind of with the bank. You got to have a reason to get it out of the bank's hands.
So the Ramban says we see a similar aside, for example, with an Aveda. Let's say you find an Aveda without simin, and you pick it up, or I can't remember the case, you have a simin, whatever, you can't keep it. The Gemara says if you picked it up, Lo yachzir. You can't put it back. Why not? Why can you put it back? Once you got it, now it's in your achrayas. You can't just put it back. Now you got to deal with it. Now you got to find the rightful owner. I don't know. Deal with it, buddy.
Or you can keep it.
Huh?
Or you can keep it. No sin.
It doesn't seem you keep it, but here you can't keep it. It's simple. So once you pick it up, you can't put it back. So you see that based in, you can't just say, okay, have to fight it out.
Unless it's covered up, no? You're playing in the kids are playing in the dirt. I had my kid the other day.
Yeah.
They were playing in the dirt in the hills there. And they found a skull.
Are you kidding?
Skull.
Pigeon
And
skull?
no.
Human?
A human skull.
Look at that for weeks.
Right, so anyway, his friend picks it up.
Bring me to share.
Right, his friend picks it up, and then my kid calls me. He's like,
Hamlet?
"Tati, I found a skull. We found a skull." I'm like, "What do you mean we found a skull?" He's like, "We found a skull." I'm like, "Okay." And then we called the Rav. The Rav said, "Well, there's Jewish gravesites there.
Right.
It might be a goy, but to be honest, it's probably a Jew. Put it back, right?" But it was covered up. They were playing. It wasn't
dug,
like it was
they
lying
dug.
there. They dug.
Right.
They were,
Assume there aren't skulls lying around. Right?
Apparently, it's quite common here.
Takes 6 feet
And
down.
hey,
A lot of quorum, right?
yeah.
Wow.
Hey,
Yeah.
this was the problem with Ramat Avram, no? This was very
A lot
similar.
of quorum, right?
Yeah. Anyway,
It was planted by the.
it could have been planted. It could have been planted, yes.
So now we express on it.
Okay, the question goes, why is the first best midrash and the second built by Klal Yisrael, and Hashem says the third one up in from heaven? Why doesn't it give us a chus for the Klal Yisrael to build it? So Hashem is scared that that's the condition of already built.
Yeah. So that's what the Riva says. We can't do with the Mona Shlishi a Kol Dolev Gvar, because you can't, once you're holding on to something, you can't let go. Now, even though the Rishonim are mashma, this is din in Beis Din. Beis Din has its achrayis. They can't do a Kol Dolev Gvar. That's because they Kol Dolev Gvar once they're holding on to something. But it could be the Riva holds that this is Chaim holds that every person has the same achrayis as Beis Din. Once you're holding on to something, you don't know whose it is. You can't just throw it out and say fight it out between yourselves. That's a lack of responsibility. And we saw that, or apparently, the Ramban says that's why by Aveda you can't give it, you can't just put it back. Once you pick it up, you can't just put it back. But it's good to know that Rashi there on the Gemara says Lo Yachzir, says Lo Yachzir to the person. You can put it back, just Lo Yachzir to the person. And Taisa says the reason why you can't be Machzir, he quotes Yerushalmi, the Lo Yachzir, it's talking about, let's say you took it, 3 weeks later you want to put it back. So the guy's already looked at it. What's the point of putting it back? He already came to look for it, or 10 hours later. Why are you putting it back? You already searched it. Too late now. You ruined it for the guy. No point in putting it back. So, if he places, if he Rashi, you can keep it, or you can put it back. Sorry.
And what if someone finds an Aveda and then 2 people come along with Simanim and they both claim it's theirs and they both got the same Simanim?
What do you say? It's this case. It's like mafkina. You have seen like mafkina. Once you pick it up, like you don't know what to do. So it's similar case. I don't know. You can do a shudda the daini, like give it to who you want to. That's the best one. Basically, just picks whoever they want to give it to.
Or keep it to the other.
What?
Or the same as the Eliyahu. I don't know.
Yemunah chashav elio. I don't know.
It's a Simon Makam also, it's not just Simon Chayfetz. So you gotta do both.
Exactly.
Check who's got the better simon.
Also, Munach HaShayav Elio is also can't be in a way.
No, but you're not. That's the thing. You're not pasking. You're just saying, let us sit here.
You're paskin and Yeh Munach.
Well, you're not giving it to anyone. That's the idea.
But you're also not returning it to the rightful owner.
Right. You haven't done the emes. You haven't performed the emes.
You-
Whereas
you're
with
intending-
Kol Dal and Gvar, there's for sure a chance that it's going to be the emes.
There's a chance, but there's also a chance there won't be, right? Whereas with Eliyahu, a chance that when it happens, it will be.
Because that's how much emunah you have to have. Aliyah, like Michelle is coming today. Like that's how much emunah you have to have. It's mamish.
Right. So just to back up a little bit. So we saw that the machlekes, there's two very similar lashonos, places in Bava Metzia and places in Bava Basra. Places in Bava Metzia says the Ochzin is a great reason for Chalukah. Right? And Kol Dam Gov is not even a Havamina. The place doesn't bash that side. The place doesn't say there's problems with doing Kol Dam Govar. The place doesn't get into that whole thing. Places just says, hey, why don't you do Kol Dam Govar? Because Ochzin is like each one, Bavadi has half, and Yachleiku is a beautiful psak. It's a beautiful psak, it makes perfect sense. Rabbeinu Tam, Bava Basra we just saw, says that you can't do Kol Dam Govar because we look at it like they're both holding on to it, and we can't let someone steal from the other guy. We like to call them Gvar, but you can't. Someone's stealing from the other guy. So what could you say the machlekes between Rashi, Taisus here and Taisus there? What's the you say the machlekes? It looks like the you say the machlekes between Taisus here and Taisus there is called Dolim Gvar, a good psak. Do we like called Dolim Gvar? Our Taisus, so we'll see. So first of all, we saw the Rosh. The Rosh says Kol Dolim Gov is a great psak. We saw yesterday. That he brought like 3 psychological reasons why when you pass in Kol Dolim Gov, the right guy's going to win. He's going to pull his keichas in. He doesn't want someone to steal from him. The other guy knows that tomorrow he might bring rayas. All the other psychological benefits. There's all these psychological reasons why he's going to put all his keichas in because it's really his. The other guy, will try and steal, but he's not going to. He's not going to give it all he has. Right?
Unless you've got Shaquille O'Neal and with a tiny guy called, I don't know.
So it could be even.
I have deal with him.
Yeah.
No, they say you just put up bars on your house. They say if you want to break through bars, you can, but it's enough deterrent to stop a guy stealing, right? The Ganav needs a little bit of deterrent. The Ganav is always looking for the lowest hanging fruit. He's looking for the easy win, the easy steal.
If he's prepared to steal, he's probably also prepared to beat the living daylights out of the one he's stealing from. Possibly.
So what you're saying is Metzia Shita Mekuvet says. Shita Mekuvet says Kol Dolim Govar is a terrible psak. It's not even a psak. It's basically just saying we're not getting involved. Fight it out. We're not interested in dealing with you guys, right? We don't know. We have no Messiah. We've got no Ruach HaKodesh. Go ask a Navi. Wait till Iyun Navi comes. Just fight it out. We're not getting involved. So what's Lefi the Shita? What happens? How does this play out? Kol Dolim Govar. What's the din? Let's say they fight it out, and Sunday morning. Shaq fights Avrami, and Shaq wins, right? Then the next day, Avrami comes to base and says, he stole my thing. Hold on, go up. Let them fight it out again. They keep fighting it out. Then he grabs it back. They have another fight. Like, how does this work? They're just going to keep fighting forever? So if you're the Shita, they fight forever. We're not getting involved. We're not, basis no paskening. Just fight it out.
What's the point of base then?
So, right, in this case, there's no point. That's how the Shita says. Lefi the Shita, Kol Dolim Gov is a really horrible psak. It's not a psak.
So even Shiva mitzvahs, they know if you have to have a base there. I mean, like, you have to have dinim. Here, you just mamish muvata.
Yeah. Oh, so the Rosh though, the we saw and Taisvis. Well, the Rosh is very specific that Kol Dolim Gov is a great psak. There's all these psychological reasons why Kol Dolim Gov, the right owner is going to win. And the Rosh, he paskins that once I grab it, whoever gets there first, that's it. It says the other guy can't come back and steal it tomorrow. This fight's going to stop right here, right now. It's a good psak. We're going to naniach. We're going to assume that the rightful owner won. That's what we're going to assume. So the other guy can't wake up the next day and bring his friends and fight back. Too late. Too bad. You missed out. So according to the Rosh, Kol Dolim Gov is a great psak. According to the Shita Mekuvet, says Kol Dolim Gov was a horrible psak. So maybe that's the machlekes between Taisus here and Taisus in Bava Basra. Who wants to work? Who wants to explain the cheshbon? If you hold Kol Dolim Gov as a great psak, how does this work? If you hold Kol Dolim Gov as a great psak, right? That's why. Let's start with Taisus over here. Taisus over here says, Ochzin Shani. Once you're holding on to it, you can't take Kol Dolim Gov because Kol Dolim Gov, if he Taisus here, is
Taisus likes over here to do like he prefers not to do Kol Dolim Gov.
Why? Because Kol Dolim Gov is not a good psak.
It's not such a
He holds like a
psak.
shita.
Yeah.
Oh, it was like a psak. But there, if he tastes Rabbeinu Tam, Kol Adam was a grape suck. So you have to have a reason why you can't do Kol Adam Gava. You have to say, because we're not going to let him steal. But really, Kol Adam was a grape suck. Again, tastes over here.
When we, this is over here, when we find a
Likes
reason
Kol
to say
Adam
it.
Gava. Tastes over here likes Kol Adam Gava. He holds like the Rosh.
This is over
Kol
here.
Adam was a grape suck. Rakman. Ayiksin's a better suck. Ayiksin's a reason to do. Ayiksin's a reason to do Yachleiku. It's no reason not to do Kol Adam Gava. It's just a great reason to do. It's more of a reason to do Yachleiku.
It's more like Yachloiku is a grape sock.
Yachloiku
But
is
in
even
a
better
case where in the Yachalois MS, where you know someone here is gaming illegally, then you just can't do it.
Or in the
Like
case
you
of,
would
or in the
always
case of
do.
Sfina when no one looks at it, you'll do Kol Adam Gava.
No, you. Why?
The kasha is why by
Sfina,
Sfina.
there's no Havamina that it's
You can't do Yachloiku.
because they're both saying Shalavoisai. So it's saying Yachloiku is a grape sock.
So it could be Taisus understands that the case of Sfina isn't Zerma Shalavoisa. It could be like same thing as Talis. It could be they were founded, they're shareholders. It could be Taisus doesn't get into this whole who owns the Sfina thing.
They just can't.
If either
bring it in.
Riva, it's Zerma Shalavoisa, it can't be both for that. That's why according to Riva, there's a Kol Adam Gava. But if you Taisus, it could be that the Sfina case, it could be they're both partners and they found out they're having a fight. So Taisus over his holds the Kol Adam was a grape suck, like the Rosh. But you've got a better psak, which is to do Yachleiku. But Rabbeinu Tam, he holds that Kol Adam was a terrible psak. Or the Hefech. How does this work? You can say it the other way. Here, Taisus doesn't want to say Kol Adam Gava. Yeah, this makes more sense. Here, Taisus doesn't want to say Kol Adam Gava because it's a terrible psak. Why would you just do Kol Adam Gava? You know, Taisus here holds like the Shita. Yeah, this makes more sense. Taisus here holds like the Shita. Kol Adam Gava is a terrible psak. You can do Yachleiku because they're both Ayis, and let's do Yachleiku, right? But over there, Rabbeinu Tam holds the Kol Adam Gava is a grape psak. Therefore, you need a reason why not do Kol Adam Gava. Yeah, that's. Because Kol Adam Gava is a grape suck, but you can't do it because one of them is Avadai, one of them is going to steal from the other guy.
So in the end of the day, Chazaka being muchzak is everything, and Kol Adam Gava is just a way to finding out who's going to be muchzak.
You're saying that the grabbing creates the chazaka.
Right, that's the whole thing. We're trying to get to a point of who's being muchzak in this thing. Either we need Kol Adam Gava to get there, or they walked in the base, and then we've already established who's muchzak. But how does that answer the third 100?
Why there you don't say?
Because that's a loss. That's a true loss. In this case, there's no gain. By having the talis, nobody got anything out of it. In the
Right.
case of this, someone's going to lose. It's gonna-
Right, how do we?
You could argue that the
can't
dollar
find it
someone's
out
gonna
because it's
steal
sitting
mine.
by the banker.
But it wasn't necessarily theirs, whereas this is.
There's
Wait,
no
so,
loss.
thank you for coming.
There's no gain, but there's no loss.
But why can't they fight it? Why can't they fight about it?
Thank you all.
And then
You can resolve the talis by saying to both of them. This thing's been valued at 100
physically
shekels.
fight over the item. They can just physically fight. Because we don't have like a physical fight.
You can resolve it.
Kaya.